Welcome to another exciting episode of Bowhunt or Die. Justin, you know, we are a couple of days away from the Illinois opener.
Finally,
yes. I know
a
you're
long
starting
time
to feel
coming.
that way.
Yeah, it's hard when you're sitting back here. For a lot of the states that don't open until October, you're seeing the forums and Facebook, and everybody is out shooting deer. Johnny shoots a good buck. Everybody's out. It seems like everyone in the world is out shooting big elk this year, except us. I mean, everywhere I turn, I see giant elk photos.
Yes, I mean, one of our friends, Todd Anderson, shot a really awesome one. Josh Fletcher put down a nice elk. So.
Yep.
You know, I've been on elk hunts before, and I mean, man, that's a great feeling, and that's a lot of fun for sure. So
yeah, I'm definitely hoping to get back out west in the next couple of years. But like Todd said, you know, we got the Illinois opener next week, so we're definitely getting prepared for that. But before Illinois opens, of course, we've got some more exciting hunts to bring you guys. First off, we're going to start with a hunt from Mike Pearce,
yep,
which also took place opening weekend up in Wisconsin, actually hunting with Todd. So let's check out that hunt now.
Okay everyone, so this morning Todd and I went and hunted his swamp property up here in Wisconsin. It's my first hunt in Wisconsin. And we had a great hunt, but I didn't have any bucks walk through that I wanted to shoot this morning. So we came to scout another property where I could shoot a doe, and he followed the sign with us, and there's tons. I mean, trails everywhere, there's beams in here. So we grabbed a lone wolf and set it up on this crooked tree where it fits perfectly, threw our lifeline in. It took us about a half hour, and we're out of here. Bowhunt or Die.
So the plan for tonight still is actually, to sit in this stand that we just put in earlier today and try to take a nice buck. If not, mature doe comes by, put some meat in the freezer. We already got a couple teammates that knocked down a nice buck and a nice doe today. So here's to trying. These deer are within 15 yards of me when they're coming through here. It's incredible. Okay. So this has been interesting to say the least. Every time I try to do a quick interview to let you guys know what's going on, I have deer just start filtering through here. Wow, this has been incredible so far. I still have an hour of light. One lone doe came in. She's probably about a 3-year-old. It was about 15 yards. That kill zone did its job because she ran 20 yards, flipped over backwards, and is done. I was able to get out here this weekend because my buddy Todd invited me out here. And we were supposed to stay Sunday and Monday, but I gotta head back in the morning because I have to go to my grandpa's funeral that just passed away Thursday. So I'm just waiting for Todd to come pick me up over here, and then we're gonna go in and recover her.
Well, I got my deer tagged. She's all legal, and time to drag her out of here, get her home, and fill up the freezer. So, first Wisconsin deer ever. I couldn't be happier. Bow hunt or die, guys.
Well, Todd, that was a great way for Mike to start off his season. You know, one thing I thought that was cool about that hunt, and something we've talked about in the past, is kind of that run and gun hunting style. I mean, you guys went into a piece of property cold, really no idea where the deer were at or what they were doing, found some sign, hung a stand, which is, of course, we talked about the benefits of, you know, having a lone wolf stand and a set of sticks, and bam, that night, shoots a deer.
Yeah, well, and Justin, to take that one step further, I mean, I went back in there once without Mike, actually, and spooked a pretty good buck out because I wanted to put a trail camera in there.
Right.
And it's amazing, in literally 5 days, what was making that spot so hot was the fact that those beans were green and they were just in there, and they were in there thick. I go back in there, and now I hunt there twice, and I don't even see a deer. So it just goes to show you how quickly things can change.
Yeah, this time of year, I mean, food sources really are everything. And you know, when those beans start to go cold, man, it can turn, like you saw, almost overnight from a hot spot into pretty much a dead spot. You know, so you know, as we mentioned, you know, in the lead into that hunt, you know, Mike was hunting with you. That's up in Wisconsin. You know, Todd, I know we saw a little sneak peek of one of your hunts last week, but you know, all things considered, you've had a pretty good start to the season.
I have. I mean, Justin, we started off with those cold temperatures, which was awesome. I mean, there's just that feeling of being able to go in and you're looking at your clock or whatever, the temperature gauge, and it's 39 degrees, and you're thinking, holy cow, I mean, this should be
right.
Like, sometimes it's November, you're going, where is the cold weather? Here it's September. But I have, Justin. I mean, I have seen some definite shooter bucks. One thing about hunting in these swamps is you have the benefit of being able to see a long way, but boy, there's just so many different directions they can go, and you lose track of them and sight of them. But it is fun to see them up on their feet during daytime hours. So
yeah, and like Todd mentioned earlier, you know, I guess it would be in the last episode, he had a lot of daytime activity from some really good bucks in one particular area of his swamp. So he was really concentrating all of his efforts there. And it is amazing to see the trail cameras tell the story of those bucks being there.
They're done.
You know, that first couple days of the season, and then, man, it's like someone flipped a switch and all of a sudden they just went somewhere else. So whether they, you know, changed their food sources or they started feeling the pressure of people hunting or whatever it may be, I mean, they definitely changed their patterns.
Well, one day I know I'm going to be walking that swamp, and I'm going to find like a little tunnel, a little passageway that they
go into, they hide out from you guys.
that they go into.
Yeah, but you know, hunting those swamp bucks is a difficult thing. It's certainly a lot more difficult than hunting them in the farmland here in the Midwest. But you know, those are some great hunts, Todd, that you had. You know, next up, I guess we're going to jump into a little gear segment.
Yeah.
Where you know, I'm going to show you guys some of the camera gear that I've been using when I'm out filming.
Yeah, and not to interrupt you, Justin, but I mean, what's neat about this is Justin did his take on what he brings into the field, and then next week I'll do a take on what I bring in, and it'll be kind of neat to see the differences because I didn't watch Justin do his segment, so it'll be
I'm
neat
sure
to
you would
see.
have corrected me a bunch of times because
Everyone's got different styles.
Yeah, so you know, it is a question we get asked a lot. What gear do we use, and how do we pack it in the woods? So I'm going to show you guys now. All right, guys, a couple of the biggest questions that we get asked here is, you know, what is the camera gear that we're using out in the field? And then secondarily, you know, how do you pack it in and out? You know, as somebody who's been filming for quite a long time, I've got a little bit of a system that works for me. This may not work for everybody, but I just wanted to show you guys a little bit about the gear that we're carrying out in the field. So first, I guess we're going to start with the camera arm. The camera arm, obviously, you guys see right here. I'm using a Muddy Outdoors camera arm. I've actually been using the same one for probably 5 years now, if not longer. I know they've got some newer models out, but you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So you can see this is the arm we're using. We're using the Manfrotto 701 heads and then a remote link controller. As somebody who self-films, this link controller really makes the difference between, you know, having good quality footage and having footage that's not so good. So this is going to be able to control your zoom, your focus, and then turn your camera on and off from this handle versus having to actually touch the camera. So that's the camera arm that I'm using. I know Todd's using a third arm that he really likes, so you know, it's really personal preference. As far as cameras, you know, we went to these Canon XA20s a year or two ago when they came out, and we've been super, super happy with them. You know, we were using some Sony AX2000s, which are great cameras, and they're awesome if you're just a cameraman. But when you get into self-filming and you're carrying all of this gear plus your hunting stuff, they were just a little bit too big. So with these XA20s, you know, they're a much smaller form factor, but they're still going to give you that 20 power zoom, and they're actually pretty good in low light. So that's the camera we're using. I'm using an external mic. This is a Rode, I believe it's an NTG2. Obviously with a big windscreen on it. That's probably one of the biggest things that guys fail on when they're out in the field, is not using a good windscreen. It's always windy. Even if you guys don't, you know, realize it, there's always a breeze blowing, and that can really ruin your audio. So a good windscreen. And then for our second angle, we're using, of course, the Epic Cam. This thing's great, and the reason I like it is because it has a remote control. So I could turn this camera on and have it in standby mode, put it anywhere around me, and then I keep the remote control actually attached to my rangefinder tether. So at any point in time, all I gotta do is click a button to turn this camera on. And then I pack everything in here in my fanny pack. So what I'm gonna do next is kind of walk you guys through how I pack all of my gear in and how I get it set up in the tree. So when it comes to packing your equipment in and out of the field, that's probably one of the biggest questions that people have and one of the biggest areas they have problems with. So what I'm going to do here is kind of just walk you through my thought process of how I pack everything into my bag. And now, let's just assume we're at the end of a hunt, right? I've got all this equipment that's up in the tree that I need to get back in my bag. What I'm going to do is I kind of have a reverse chronological order of how I'm going to put it away based on how I'm going to take it out of my bag the next time that I hunt. So the first thing that I'm going to always put away is going to be my second angle camera, which is going to be my Epic, along with the mount. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the camera off, I'm going to pull the mount off, and I'm actually just going to stick it in one of the pockets in the front of my fanny pack here. So we just zip this open. These guys go in here. Generally speaking, I've got these hooks in all the trees that I'm already hunting, so I'll leave those there. That way the next time I come back, I can just put my mount right on that hook. But I always carry an extra just in case. So that's done. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take my microphone off my camera. So assuming the camera's in the tree, it's ready to go, I'm going to film my interview. Hey, I didn't see anything tonight, or whatever the case may be, and I'm going to go ahead and take my microphone off the camera, and I'm going to stick it in my fanny pack. Okay, so now that that's done, the next thing I'm going to do, because I'm done filming, it's the end of the night or end of my morning hunt, I'm going to take my camera off, I'm going to put that in. And this is really where the benefit of having these smaller cameras comes in. I can literally take this camera, I can stick it right in my fanny pack and close it up. I mean, literally, that's all there is to it. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the actual arm off of the base. So, you know, you got your base, which is ratcheted into the tree. Your arm basically sits in it like so. So I'm going to pull this off. The base is still attached to the tree at this point. Now, in my case, I'm going to show you two different ways to do this. With the fanny pack that I have, actually has this kind of flap that goes over the main compartment, right? And this flap has got a couple straps on it. So what I do is I'll actually take this, I'll set it in here, I'll put this flap over the top of it, and I'll actually use that flap to hold the camera arm into the pack, right? Okay, so now my camera arm is in. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the base off of the tree, which is held on by a ratchet strap. I'm going to take the ratchet strap off first. My base is always going to be held onto the tree by a hook. So you've got this little loop right here. So I've got a hook in the tree, this is hanging on the loop, and then it gets ratchet strapped in there. Pull that ratchet strap off, roll it up like this, and I'm going to put it in one of the drink holders on the side of my pack. Stick that right in there. Last thing to do is take the base off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually lash the base to the outside of my pack. This was probably the biggest thing that I struggled with early on, was what to do with this base. I used to use a big backpack, and I'd always try to put the base inside the pack with the arm and the camera, and it just never worked. There's a lot of pieces on this base that are going to get caught on things, that are going to bang around and make a lot of noise. So I like to strap it on the outside of my pack. It's always the last thing that goes on. Helps to minimize noise and make it easier for me to get it on and off. And that's really going to dictate the type of pack that I like to use when I'm filming. If it does not have these straps, I'm not going to use it. So basically at this point, I'm done. I mean, everything is in. As you can see, it's all one big package, nice and clean. I'm going to throw this thing over my back, and I'm going to climb down my stand and go home for the night. Now, for those of you guys who don't have the luxury of having this handy little flap to cover up your camera arm, what I'll do, so let's assume you've gone ahead and closed your pack up, and all you've got are the lashing straps on the outside of it. what I'm gonna do, because I always struggled with this, is now I've got two pieces here. They're gonna bang and clang into each other and make a bunch of noise, and it's just a real pain to deal with. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen these and used them already, but they're these big, long kind of twist ties, these rubber twist ties. You can get these from Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, whatever you guys have in your area. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna take my camera arm and the base, and I'm gonna attach them together with one of these twist ties. I'm just gonna go over this entire thing, including the arm, and I'm gonna fasten it down. What that's gonna do is kind of turn this into one more cohesive piece. So now it's not banging around, it's not flopping everywhere. I'm gonna take this entire thing and I'm gonna go ahead and lash it to the outside of my bag. So it's basically the same thing, except everything's all in one spot instead of in two spots. So I'm gonna go ahead and lash it on there, and that's it. I'm done. Ready to go, pack in, pack out. The next time I get to my stand and I'm ready to film, I'm gonna go in the exact opposite order. So I'm gonna pull the camera arm off. This will be sitting down on the stand, on the seat of my stand. I'm gonna strap this onto the tree. I'm gonna open it up, put the camera on, put my second angle camera, put my backpack down, and I'm done and ready to film. So I know Todd is interested in showing you his setup that he's put together that works for him. He's kind of got his own way that he likes to do it, but this is what works the best for me. So if you guys are out filming hunts this fall, whether you're filming someone else or filming yourself, give it a try.
I always enjoy seeing what different people bring to the stand. Now, in this particular case, you know, Justin, you're showing what you bring more specifically for filming, but
Right.
It is always fun to see what other people are bringing.
Yeah, we're all a little bit different in what we like to carry to the woods with us. And one thing that I will say is that, you know, over the years, I feel like the amount of gear that I carry into the woods with me, whether it be filming gear or hunting gear, has gotten a lot less. There was a point in time, Todd, I'm sure you remember, I mean, we would carry every piece of filming gear we had. Wireless mics.
I remember the backpack you used to have.
Extra sets of wireless mics, tons of batteries and lights and all sorts of stuff. And I realized that I really don't ever use this stuff. So it's literally a camera arm, a camera, my little point of view Epic Cam, and that is it. That's all I need, and it gets the job done just fine.
Well, with that being said, next up we're going to join Richie Music as he exposes a really big buck called Double Wide. And also we're going to see how Dan Richardson uses his trail cameras to get some fun little shots of some different things on his property. So let's take a look.
All right, guys, with the 2014 season fast approaching, we've got 3 weeks here till the Illinois archery season opens up. I wanted to give you a quick update as to how my season has been progressing so far and kind of give you a rundown on the deer we're going to be chasing. Realistically, as of right now, we've got one shooter, deer we call Double Wide. We actually had him on camera last year on the lease and never did see him on the hoof during hunting time, but this year he's back. We're getting him a lot on camera. I've got 12 stealth cams out on the property, and I've got 6 of them set in video mode. First time we went out to the property this year to check the cameras, lo and behold, the first card pull, there he is. Early July, coming into my food plot, and I knew it was him instantly. You could just tell with the massive beams and the big spread on him that you knew there was no question that was Double Wide. As season progressed, we did some work on the food plots, hung all our lone wolf sets, trimmed all our lanes. I just kept waiting and anticipating to check those cards and see them grow and grow and grow. And this last card pull, boy, did he really grow. Check the cards, out of 12 cameras, he was on 5 of the 12. And he just blossomed into an unbelievable giant 160-inch typical 9. And we're starting to get daylight pictures of him, which is really exciting because although it's too early to say you can pattern a deer because everything's going to change, it's still exciting to know the Illinois opener is only 3 weeks away and he's walking by at 8:30 in the morning. So with that being said, all the stands are hung, food plots look great, cameras are constantly running, taking inventory out there. You know, it's only a matter of time. We're going to be in the tree here before you know it, and hopefully you'll see me get to put my hands on Double Wide in no time at all. Bow hunt or die, guys.
Hi, I'm Dan Richardson. What I'm going to be doing today is getting creative with my game cam. I've got a Stealth G30 and I'm going to be running this on video mode. And we are actually standing on basically an interstate in the woods. This is a beaver dam. This is a high percentage area where we know we're going to get things because everything walks across the beaver dam. But the main focus is going to be on beaver. And what they do, they find these drainage ditches, they build a dam across it where it can't drain. They raise the water table, it floods the timber, it kills a lot of timber, but they can get higher up in the wood line, cut their trees, drag them to their feed bed, build their lodge, keeps their teeth cut back. They're very destructive animals. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut a spot in this dam, we're going to put a cam in front of it, and hopefully get one in coming in repairing that spot, which will be some really cool video. I got a feeling we're probably going to get a little bit of everything on this dam. There's deer tracks, I see coon tracks, there's a little bit of everything. So getting creative with your camera, and one of the best tips I can give you on things like this is pick those high percentage areas. And this right here, like I said, it attracts all kinds of game. And let's get this dam cut, let's get this cam set and see what we get.
Well, that buck that Richie's chasing double wide, I mean, he's an absolute giant deer. You know, last year, Todd, we got some pictures of that deer over on our side of the lease.
I wasn't going to say
during
that.
the summer. So, I mean, if he decides to come over the hill, hey, you know, all is fair in bow hunting, they say.
I think Richie should definitely come from the other side of his property to get to whatever
Yeah,
stand he's
push
gonna
him,
hunt.
push him towards
I agree
us.
100%. So
We'll shoot him, don't worry, man. He'll get to still wrap his hands around the antlers after we shoot him.
we'll even let him drag him too.
Yeah, while he's taking trophy photos for us. So that's a great buck that he's chasing. Hopefully he has some encounters with him this fall. And then, you know, I thought, you know, what Dan was doing with his camera was actually pretty cool. It seems to be kind of a trendy thing to do these days, is set up your cameras to try to get, you know, pictures and video of other wildlife besides just deer, you know, and he was able to do that with a couple cool beaver shots.
Put one on your kid's crib, see what he's doing at night.
I don't want to know. Hopefully just sleeping. So, you know, that's all the hunting and in the field action we've got for this week. Of course, as always, we want to take a couple seconds to thank the people who sent in their photos for this week's show.
Devin Luke,
Jessica Faldette,
David Straight,
James Riplack.
Ethan Hoops.
Hey, congratulations, everybody. Those are some great trophies. Remember, if you want to see yourself right here in an episode of Bow Hunt or Die, all you've got to do is email us your photos, info@bowhunting.com, or post them to our Facebook page. Well, Todd, that's a wrap for this week's show. Next week, we're hoping to bring you some Illinois action,
Illinois starts.
possibly. So Illinois season's going to be opening up, along with a lot of other seasons around the country, not just us. I know that Ohio's getting ready to open, Iowa's going to open. I mean, pretty much after this next week, everything is going to be open, and hopefully some big bucks start hitting the ground.
I'm ready. I'm dialed in.
All right.
I'm feeling good.
We're going to head out to the lease tomorrow and give one last check of the trail cameras and give an update on the food plots, see how they're growing, and hopefully get some intel that will lead us to a big buck next week. So you're just going to have to check back on the next episode of Bow Hunt or Die.
In the meantime, don't forget to check out facebook.com/bowhunting for daily updates, news, photos, and other exciting information. We want to hear your opinions and your stories, so join us now and like us on Facebook. Let's do it! Okay, you're taking the two hard ones. I'm taking the easy ones. You know, Justin.
I do know, Todd.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. And action.
If Richie's chasing double wide is definitely a giant.
That was too long, but I thought we were like getting married here.